Here's something no one tells new CTOs. You do not need to become a coaching expert in order to get started with coaching and mentoring your people. No, you don't have to go through a certification, take a coaching course, read 5 books on radical candor and psychological safety just in order to be allowed to start working on that with your people. All of those would be nice and would probably help you down the line, but right now, if you want to be a good tech executive and start taking a control over how your people grow and just starting helping them to become better, all you need is a solid coaching framework, a good few tools in your toolbox to get started. With about 30 minutes a week, you can already make tremendous progress throughout your team, helping everyone around in the right coaching framework. And I'll tell you even more. If you do this correctly, I guarantee you're going to be better than 80% of the tech leaders out there easily. Why? Because most tech leaders don't actually coach their people. They manage roadmaps, they are in control of the Jira, they run around making sure that PRs are getting merged, and if we're lucky, they might have some one-on-ones that usually go something like, hey, so how's it going? Yeah, all good, and that's about it. But that's not coaching. That's not helping your team grow. That's just, playing pretend. You, my friend, with this quick coaching framework we're going to be covering, can just like that, within the next couple of weeks, shoot up and be at the top 20% of tech leaders when it comes to taking care of your team. Isn't that a nice thing to think about? In this video, I'm going to give you this dead simple approach to get started that will make you a better coach than most people around, and that you can start implementing not next year, not next quarter, this week. By the way, if you're new here, hi, I'm Aviv Ben-Yosef. I'm a tech executive, coach and consultant, and I help people create teams worth leading, because that's too short to lead a mediocre team. And you know what's a surefire way to guarantee you have a mediocre team? Never coach them, never help them get any better. That's what we're going to be putting a stop to today. First, let's start with a quick rundown of the excuses you might be telling yourself. I know because I've used them in the past. These are the excuses that I hear most often that are holding people back from taking control of the coaching habits needed for the prosperity of their teams. Number one is, I don't have time. Well, let me tell you something. No one has time. And what I keep saying is, if people running Fortune 100 companies, if prime ministers get the time to do everything they need to do, who are we to complain about not having enough time to take care of our 10, 20, 100 people teams that are nothing in comparison, right? I mean, seriously, you can do it. The question is, can you prioritize it? Because we all have the same 24 hours a day, and this is a matter of, are we prioritizing this enough to give this enough attention and make progress there? If you realize how important this is, surely you'll find the time to do it properly. Number two is, I don't know how, which is exactly what we'll be covering later in this video, because I'm going to tell you exactly how. Again, you don't need some certification, you don't need to be an amazing coach. I know that the vast majority of CTOs I work with never even have gotten in the past any good coaching, so they don't even have a good role model. That's fine. But don't let that become something that is never changed. It's not an axiom of life. You don't know how to coach, therefore you will never be able to. No, you can improve on it, and you can improve on it fast. Again, this is like, expecting that you have to put in 6 years of work before you can ever have a pull request go to production, because you have to become a really good engineer before doing so. Tell that to everyone making already quite a good amount of money from things that AI has whipped up the past week. No, this isn't what we're going to do. You're going to be allowing yourself to start making passes, start making the first steps, and see how much progress that alone can give. And just imagine if you can make all that impact like a novice coach. Just imagine where you're going to be at a year from today. And one last point, I often hear people say, my team are senior, they don't need coaching. Well, surely if your team is a bunch of seniors, you do not need to hold their hands daily and have the type of coaching that's essentially mentoring and making sure that they know what they're doing. But just think about it. The best athletes in the world have coaches. The best chess players, if Magnus Carlsen can have a chess coach, I'm sure your people can benefit from some good solid coaching, no matter how senior they are. And again, taking on with some more with that example of athletes and their coaches, the coach does not even have to be better at the said work or profession than those people. And therefore, Magnus Carlsen, obviously the best chess player in human history, can have coaches, even though none of them are better than he is when it comes to chess. You can help your team become better even if you're rusty as an engineer, even if you don't have a lot of time, even if you don't have a lot of experience, you can already make progress. All these three are the most common excuses that I keep hearing, and you don't need to be holding yourself back with them. But before we get started, I want you to have this mind shift happen, because this is a prerequisite. Before we start talking about the tactics and how you can actually start coaching, you have to fix something in your head. And that's understanding that coaching is not a nice to have. It's not something that maybe you do in addition to your role. No, your role, if you're a tech leader, if you're a tech executive, is essentially investing in the team and helping it grow. That's what you're there for. Yeah, you need to be taking notes about all sorts of different things. But at the end of the day, your product is the team. It's the organization you're running. And helping that team become better is how you actually do the work. So it is not an extra. It is the main thing. It's the main course. That's what you need to be doing. That's what you need to be focusing on. And then the rest of the things are just added gravy in order to help the team be even better. But you cannot assume that this is something that you do later. No, we start by making your team an amazing one, and having that focus, you'll see how you slowly gain more momentum together, and everyone just becomes more effective, happier, and the organization is going to benefit so much. This is, again, goes to my main theory. We want to create teams that are impact powerhouses. And that never happens if we don't invest in them regularly, help them get better, and help them see how much we care about them. Even your senior people, just like we talked about a minute ago, those senior people benefit so much from some attention, from finally getting someone to help them to be focused on their own growth, because they usually don't get enough of that. And when that happens, those people keep getting better. And if we make a senior, principal, staff engineer, whatever, just 2% better, that often has a bigger impact than having one of your juniors get 10% better, because it's a lot easier to help them improve, but those juniors usually have way less impact. When we invest also in our seniors, and we don't lie to ourselves that seniors don't need coaching, we keep getting these benefits. People keep getting improved. And again, this is a win-win-win. This is what I love creating. Situations where we're in everyone's best interest, not just one side. So how are we getting started? Step one is declaring it out in the open. Tell your team you're going to be starting a coaching habit, a coaching framework. When you're going to give them feedback, it's not because anything bad particularly happened just now, but actually tell everyone, we're going to be having these conversations regularly. Everyone will have a coaching goal. Everyone will be getting some help and attention. I'm not just going to be talking with just Alice and Bob because they suck. No, we're going to be talking with everyone. Everyone's going to get this. This alignment is really going to help you ensure that no one is surprised. And also, when you do it, I find that it really helps me being frank, just putting it out there and saying, if you know me for a while, you know I'm not an expert coach, but we're going to be working on this together. I know that working on this together, we can both benefit from these conversations. I will not go into the discussion assuming that I have all the answers. I'm not going to pretend to, but we will work on it together and help you improve and get better, which is our end goal here. This is what we want to see. And because you're straightforward, you're just telling it as it is, You're not pretending to somehow now be like Neo, waking up. Oh, I'm an expert coach now. No, you're going to be working on this together. It's going to be rough at the beginning, but it's going to slowly become better. You're essentially giving yourself permission to learn on the job. And that's fine, because if you're not going to do that, you'll never do it. You'll never learn, because that's what we've got. Unfortunately, that's the way life is. So you want to start moving forward, and by having this alignment, by having this declaration going out, you make it a lot easier on yourself and on everyone around. So let's start by doing that. Craft that message. If you need help with that, my email's in the video description, and just send me an email about your team size and context, and I'll send you one of the templates I've got for kickstarting this sort of process with your team. Number 2 in our process here is setting quarterly or bi-monthly goals. So every couple of months or every 3 months, you want to ensure that everyone on your team has a clear goal, something they're working towards. It can be more technical, like, I don't know, learning how to use AI better, learning how to do code reviews better, have less quality issues, something like that. Or it can be something more along the lines of, how can I speak better with product? How can I explain things better to the team? Maybe I want to be a public speaker. Something that you think that person can benefit from. And during those 2 to 3 months that this is their main goal, you will be helping them get there. It's important that the goal is something that they care about and that you care about. So I don't want people to say that their goal for the next quarter is learn Rust if no one's going to be using Rust at the company. That's something that they can do on their own. It's not something that you need to be there for them. These goals are things that we do together because it makes sense in the work context, it makes them better, and it makes the organization better. Because you cannot, as a leader, just give them the time to focus on something if it doesn't actually help anyone in the company. This is not about making people just feel good for the sense of feeling good. This is about making them better professionals. That's the growth we're aiming at here. Now, if you need some more ideas about how to do these, how to plan these, which prompts to give your people in order to help them get better there, I highly recommend checking out my Impact Coaching Framework. It's a short ebook, it's free, and it has everything that we're covering here in a bit of a longer form with some cheat sheets that you can use for examples for these goals. You can find it in the link in the video description, and just by getting that, you'll have so many ideas about what you can start doing with your team. You can just use it as a cheat sheet for yourself. You can send it to people to think about in advance as you're having these conversations, and you'll see that this gives you so many ideas about things that people are actually excited to do. This should not be looked at as something that we do just because we have to, but something that we want to do, something that we're eager to get better at, and that's the beauty of it. Step 3, and this is where the coaching habit really kicks in, is having a check-in every week or 2. You want to ensure that you don't just give people a goal for the next quarter and then immediately forget about it and only talk about it hopefully a quarter later when you review. No, this needs to become something that you then have a regular constant heartbeat for. Every one-on-one, and you do have regular one-on-ones, do you? Every one-on-one, you have to, at least part of the agenda of that meeting be, you want to talk about, okay, how are we making progress when it comes to your, I don't know, having higher quality code? Are you finding those areas where you usually have more issues? Maybe you're implementing something. This is something that, by the way, you need to be working on together. This is not just you every week asking, hey, are we making progress? No, this is about you working together. So some of your job, part of your job as a leader here is to ensure that you're bringing up some ideas. You tell them when you come to the meeting, you're already prepared. You have done some homework, you have done some thinking, and you can tell them, hey, you know what, John? I want to tell you that I've been noticing that you've been doing this or that better. Or I think that this is not working out, maybe we need to try something else, a different approach. Or come up with, you know, I've been thinking about it, and here's an experiment I think you can do in the next couple of weeks. What we want to do is that in every of these touch points, in every one-on-one, every week or 2, you see what progress has been made, you decide about the action items that you're going to be doing over the next week or two till the next touch point, so that we always have this going on. This is just like any other project that you have in your team. These are a bunch of minimal projects that we have with our people to help them get a bit better in every iteration. And therefore, as we're making progress along those 3 months or so, you'll see people getting some better, maybe realizing that an approach, it doesn't make sense, and trying something else. This is where coaching is actually happening. This is you being there for them for accountability, ensuring that they don't get lost and they don't forget about it, being there to help them assess how they're making progress as an external part, and giving them some inspiration, some motivation, some extra ideas, and some support to ensure that they keep trying even when it gets hard. Because most of the times, these goals are not things that are just gonna talk about once and then they're gonna execute and boom, we're done. No, it's something that we usually have to keep working on till we finally crack it, till they finally get good enough there. And then we get to step 4. That's the rinse and repeat. You actually finally got into a point where you finished this 2 months or 3 month sprint. This is something that you should have on your calendar on repeat, and all of that is actually mentioned in the free ebook I talked about that you can find in the video description. And then what you're going to be doing is celebrating the wins, telling them, hey, look what we wrote down when you started, look at where we are at right now, kudos. If we're happy about that, let's talk about the next goal. If we're not happy about that, let's talk about what we can do differently if we want to continue with the same goal, and what we're going to be doing differently in the next quarter or so to ensure that we don't just end up repeating the same process. And you can pat yourself on the back on accumulating another small upgrade on your team. As I said, just by doing this, you're already far better than the vast majority of leaders. Now what we start doing is accumulating these upgrades, these improvements all over your team. And now just think about the concept of each person on your team having like 4 or 5 of these upgrades a year, and how much of an effect these compounding upgrades will have across your team in just a few months and a year or two. This is amazing, and this is one of the open secrets that I'm always so baffled about. We don't need to do anything magical. We just need to do the work and you'll see results. It's as simple as that. So rinse and repeat, and keep investing in your team to see them progressing, upgrading, and getting better. There's virtually no ceiling here. So let me leave you with this. You don't need to be a perfect coach to get started. You don't even need to be a coach. You just need to start coaching. That's fine. You'll see results very quickly. If you have any issues, again, check out the free ebook. And if you want to talk with someone about this, my email's in the video description, and I'll be happy to have a quick chat. So reach out to me. And if you found this at all useful, please like and subscribe, share it with another CTO that needs to hear this, and I'll see you here in the next video. Bye.